Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now June 19th of 2023, and given that we are just a short number of days away from the release of The Dial of Destiny, we also have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni preparing to really debut that final trailer for the Ahsoka Tano series, and Lucasfilm is going through both a rough patch right now with Indy 5, as well as embracing something successful or potentially successful by Dave Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on here with Star Wars. Something that is really going to bother a lot of fans out there around the world. Whether you're a casual fan or a hardcore fan, especially of the prequels, I think that this is really going to tear the fans into a very big divide, even bigger than that of The Last Jedi, and this is all rooted to no other than Leslye Headland. Now, we know that Leslye Headland is, in my book, a fake fan. Alright, this is somebody that could not name a single Star Wars movie a couple of years ago when she was making Russian Doll, and then when she got the job for the Acolyte, suddenly she's a massive Expanded Universe fan, yet does not make a show about the Expanded Universe, and does not like George Lucas, and how a lot of fans only want him in the room, basically, and how then she goes on stage and says that the franchise saved her life. But I digress. Let's tap into the more important material here of what's going really on with the Acolyte and how it's really going to undo a lot of things by George Lucas in especially the prequels, specifically Revenge of the Sith. Now, with both Favreau and Filoni attempting to course-correct Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland are on a course to deconstruct Star Wars, essentially. However, one big plan that Leslye Headland is creating for the Acolyte is to embrace an entirely new Chosen One that is going to overtake the prophecy of Anakin Skywalker as fulfilled in the prequels and originals. One big story piece for the Acolyte around midway through is set to introduce what she calls the true Chosen One prophecy and the real Chosen One. That plan is to deconstruct the story and legend of Anakin in Star Wars and to embrace a brand new figure that will be teased in the series. Now, this is described to be the major retcon that Leslye has been teasing toward the prequels to completely reset George Lucas's philosophy of the franchise and of Anakin himself. Now, many of the storyboard illustration descriptions depict moments in which the Acolytes discover this hidden knowledge of the true Chosen One via a Jedi holocron stored away in an ancient Sith temple that will be uncovered that will undermine the story of Anakin. Now, again, let me stop here quick. This is yet again another prime example that Lucasfilm does not care about specifics of lore and canon material that George Lucas created. And when I say Lucasfilm, we're talking about the whole Kennedy and Headland loyalists as well as themselves, right? You also have those that are very loyal to Jon Favreau, George Lucas, and Dave Filoni that really embrace the, sophisticated material that honors the legacy, that really honors the fan base. Passionate creators, so to speak. So what's interesting about this too, further, is that this is basically Leslie's way of creating a new Chosen One. Now, we've talked about this before in the past, and it's been a very on and off scenario with the test screenings and with some of the reshoots that happened, and with more of the reshoots, by the way, that are planned to take place by this fall, around November or late October, give or take. And there's a lot of things coming out of the Acolyte that I think a lot of fans are not going to approve of, period, the end. And that there's a reason why a lot of fans aren't talking about it as much as they should in their eyes. Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye feel that the fans should be talking about this more. And they realize that it's not talked about as much as Mandalorian or as Ahsoka. And there's a reason for that, obviously. So, moving to the next thing. Alright? Now, this new Chosen One is described to be a human female character created by the gods, aka the Wills, who also created the entire galaxy. Lucas is said to be furious about this decision, and that Jon and Dave are already rushing to somehow undo this retcon of Leslie's with a future series that will take place around the Phantom Menace that Disney plans to announce by next year. Leslye is also preparing to convince Disney to greenlight a spin-off of the Acolyte series, again, that previously got cancelled, as she is running into Kathleen Kennedy's loyals of the Disney executives to make this spin-off happen to expand the new Chosen One character. Now again, guys, we talked about this a little bit last year, that there was going to be an Acolyte spin-off series, and that didn't really work out. And now Leslye is trying to revitalize that. She's trying to revive that project and to really make it happen. And that actual spin-off surrounds the real Chosen One, the new Chosen One, so to speak, of the Star Wars franchise that would actually overtake Anakin Skywalker. So again, this is another example that Leslye is relentless. She does not care about the fans. She does not care about George. And I find it to be insulting that she goes on stage. Go ahead and look up that video, by the way. Leslye Headland Star Wars Celebration 2023. I highly advise you all check it out. And just watch how fake she really is. She fake cries. She says how the franchise saved her life, but goes on to never explain how it did. And she also really just talks about how she's such an expanded universe fan, but this series has nothing to even do with the EU, so what does that tell you about her, right? Also, like I said before, going back to the days of when she was making Russian Doll, never even knew about Star Wars, couldn't name a single movie when she was questioned about the franchise, so it really is a front by Kathleen Kennedy, there's no question about it, and it just goes to show you that this is all a way to kind of engineer Star Wars in a different path. The thing about this too that I think is going to bother a lot of fans is the fact that it's also creating more work for John and Dave to save the franchise and to course correct it. So not only do they have to course correct things after the aftermath of the sequels, but they also have to course correct the aftermath of Leslye Headland's The Acolyte and Kathleen Kennedy's Skeleton Crew, which by the way comes out this holiday season. We've talked about this. Skeleton Crew is basically going to be an attempt by John Watts, the creator of the Spider-Man films by Disney/Marvel, to essentially Marvelize Star Wars. It's going to be Marvel meets Star Wars meets The Goonies meets Stranger Things. That's what Skeleton Crew is all about, and it's going to come out by this November, give or take, to kind of give it some breathing room after Ahsoka ends. So anyways, about the true Chosen One. We've talked about this, how Kathleen Kennedy initially wanted Brie Larson to take on that role as a character called Maeve, who is a Jedi god, and they are trying to essentially revive that idea. Kathleen Kennedy is trying to make that into a reality again after Disney and its executives loyal to John and Dave canceled it right off the bat at the snap of a finger. So it should remain like that. It should never see the light of day. I don't see why they would even think about greenlighting a Acolyte spin-off again after canceling it, so I don't really see them doing that, but we'll have to wait and see exactly, what their new pitch is going to be like with this Acolyte spin-off, so to speak. So overall, guys, I would really love to hear your takes on this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.